Let's get to the meat of this podcast, which is the AL East. I mean, there's so much to talk about with the AL East, especially with the top two teams. We'll get to the Red Sox in a minute and what the hell's going on there. But first, we got to talk about how everybody loves them some New York Yankees. And let's review what they did last year. They had a Vegas projected win total of 96.5. They finished with 103 wins, going over their total. Pathag says that they should have won 99. And now they are set at 101.5. Sean, you have these guys projected at 100, so there's no value here in the 101.5. But I think everybody in the world probably has some sort of futures on the New York Yankees right now, right?
Of course, how couldn't you? They're the
Yeah.
best team in the history of Major League Baseball. They're going to win 130 games, and they're going to, win all 12 playoff games and win running away. No, I mean, it's a historical thing. John Ewing, one of our Action Network colleagues, polled this since 1990. There's been 5 teams that have a win total of 100 plus, and they're 0-5 against the number. This is the first team since the 2016 Cubs to have a win projection on Davenport over 100. Only other is the 2012 Texas Rangers. So it shows you, we were just talking about projections and the ranges of projections and how difficult it is to get a team that's so good that they push your projection number over 100. This Yankees team is that good. The Dodgers team is that good. I have them within 0.1 wins of each other. I think one's 100.4, one's 100.3. So this Yankees team sustained, I believe, more than 30 injuries last year. They broke a record by putting over 30 guys in the injured list, and they still won 103 games. Their Pythag was 99. My projection this year is 100. Davenport's 101. So everything is pretty much right around one another if you equate to last year. And why is that? It's because Mike Tauchman had 2.6 wins above replacement. Gio Urshela had 3.1 wins above replacement. Brett Gardner had a 3.5 win season. Luke Voigt had 2 wins. DJ LeMahieu had a 5-win MVP season. So there's baked in regression for these guys to all come back down to their level. They added Garrett Cole. They're going to get other guys back from injury. But at the same time, you have to factor in the regression that these other guys had in their career years, all having their career years at the same time, that they're all going to come back down to a normal level. So you might be getting Stanton back for a full year. You might be getting a full year of Garrett Cole. You might win the exact same number of games.
Yeah, and I just cannot believe how many injuries these guys had last year. So, I mean, there is, that going for them. But at the same time, if there's a weakness that I want to point out with these guys, it's their brand new pitching coach. They had Larry Rothschild after 9 years, big part of their pitching staff, big part of their success from the pitching standpoint. Now they have 34-year-old Matt Blake, who was the Indians pitching coordinator. Matt Blake has not been in a dugout. Matt Blake has not made a walkout to a mound. Matt Blake is not a hands-on coach. He has – I believe I read a story where some of the Yankees pitchers are already chirping about how the fact that they're working on their mechanics and talking about their mechanics, and Matt Blake had like a Skype session with them. Like he's not hands-on like at all. He's one of the analytics guys. He's considered an analytics guru and smart. And it just reminds me in college football so much of Joe Brady at LSU. Like he doesn't actually coach the players, but he could draw something on a marker board that's absolutely going to get you the win. He's never made a mound visit, and I think that really plays heavily into this team. Like if the pitching mechanics get out of whack, and at some point this season they'll go into a funk. Every team does. I'm not sure that's something that he can fix. So, Paxton's already on the DL. So if there's one area of weakness here, it's the fact that they have a different pitching coach and they're going full analytics from that standpoint.
It's interesting. I mean, I guess people made similar comments about Boone before he took the manager job, that he had never been in a dugout, never made a mound visit. So you could say similar things. I mean, hey, if you're going to compare him to Joe Brady, compliments the Yankee fans because they're, again, going to win 130 games this year based on that comparison. No, I think that's certainly a viable thing. Baseball, it feels like the coaching in baseball is so much more of a personal touch than it is with other sports. They're in so much closer proximity, and it's so much more of like a relationship than it is where other sports seem like it's more of a dictatorship. This seems like it's more of a family, baseball team.
Right.
So that, that's certainly something to be said for that. Paxton being injured immediately, that takes a big hit out. But when you add in the fact that, their rotation, potential playoff rotation is going to be Cole, Severino, maybe Paxton. And then you have to choose between J.A. Happ and Masahiro Tanaka. That's pretty nasty. It's a lot better than what they were trolling out last year, especially because, we're leaving out Domingo Herman as well, I believe, right? So the fact that Herman was suspended, you have a full rotation of number 2, number 3 starters at worst, at the bottom of that rotation. When we're talking about other teams, they could barely fill out their 5-man rotation. So Yankees starting pitching depth compared to last year, so much better. Their bullpen probably just as good. It's just a matter of, does Stanton stay healthy? How much do guys like Tauchman and Urshela regress? Otherwise, they're going to win 100 games, and they should be the World Series favorite. I just think they're, ever so slightly overvalued at this point.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. But when you have a win total of 101.5, you need everything to be perfect. And that pitching aspect with the pitching coach kind of bothers me because I'm a guy that coaches my 13-year-old's team. And I've got 5 13-year-olds on a mound. And it's not even so much I'm teaching you how to set your feet and handle the rubber and check a runner at first and how you have to tuck your glove into your armpit and your mechanic. It's in between the ears, too. Pitching is in between the ears, especially with a lot of these guys. I should know as a guy that follows Royals baseball, and Greinke just decided to take a year off, right? I mean, pitching is just as much between the ears as it is your mechanics. So that's something that kind of stuck out to me. I want everything to be perfect if I'm going to take an over 101.5. So that's why I'm going to lay off here.